Hello, students. This is Mr. Morris. I hope you're doing well. Um, it's been a lot of fun working with you with the SDV course. I would like to go ahead and start our next lecture on academic integrity. So let me share my screen with you. Give me just one moment, please. Okay, I should be able to share now. So hopefully you can see my screen. All right. All right, so we're going to cover academic integrity today. This is a huge, um, we have huge problems sometimes with academic integrity in the school systems and uh, colleges and universities. Um, we don't want you to cheat. We want you to earn it without, uh, you know, it's just bad policy because there's a good chance you could possibly be expelled from a school from cheating. So to make sure you don't do those types of things. And you've been hearing about cheating since elementary school, but it's much more serious when you look at it at the college level. Okay. So we go to the next slide. What are some types of academic dishonesty? Of course, we have cheating, plagiarism, fakery, and lying. I'm going to go through all four of these different types here shortly. We even have AI. If you're uh, using AI to write your research papers, that's not necessarily a good idea to do that. Okay. AI is a good tool, but it's not meant to do your work. So these are not fun discussion topics, but valuable issues to be aware of and to work through in advance. So the goal here is not to discourage you. Instead, the purpose here is to motivate students to fight the temptation to cheat and to behave in a credible, trustworthy manner throughout their career. Okay? So you don't want to cheat at school. You don't want to cheat on the job. It's just a bad policy all around. So what is cheating? It's when using unauthorized help to complete a test, practice exercise, assignment, or project. Looking at someone else's paper during an exam, writing answers on your hand, or text messaging other students during the exam, copying someone's computer project. Both parties are, at that point are equally guilty. And using AI when prohibited. Sometimes AI will be, you know, accepted, and sometimes it won't be. Okay. You got to make sure you check with your professor. Plagiarism. Plagiarism is another person's ideas as one's own. Does not have to be word for word. In other words, you're using somebody else's words instead of yours. Even when when you write a paper, you have to be very, very careful to put things into your own words and not. If you do happen to use another person's words, you have to know how to properly document that and give them credit for it in your paper. Okay. So presenting another person's ideas as one's own does not have to be word for word. Okay. Copying from a book or a magazine or a newspaper, copying from a website without giving proper credit, or buying a term paper. Okay. By the way, there are some tools that professors have at their leisure and Canvas that they can check for uh, plagiarism. So you have to be very careful, right? Because they have tools that they can check to see, and you know you might not like the result if you cheat. Okay. Here is a valuable resource at the library website. Um, you have to, if you want to cite sources, again, you want to give credit where credit is due. And here is actually a PDF of what is plagiarism here. This is a general guide to understanding written plagiarism. Are my own words being used? Yes or no? That's the first question. Next, is it my idea? Yes or no? Over here, are you using quotation marks or placing it in a block quote? If you are using quotation marks, yes, yay, you are not plagiarizing. But no, if you don't use quotation marks, you are plagiarizing. But you still have to know how to properly cite your sources. So again, if you're using quotation marks, you have to cite your source. Over here, again, is it my idea? Yes or no? If it's your idea, you're not plagiarizing. If no, you are paraphrasing. So you're just taking somebody else's idea and paraphrasing it. That is still plagiarizing. Okay. So you have to be very careful how you word it. Here is an example of someone's lab report. Look at the data, right? It's almost perfect. Oh, it is perfect. You have the time, you have the temperature, look, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It's not 60.12 or 70.34. It's perfectly 60 degrees, 70 degrees, and so on. This is a warning flag for your professor if they're grading your lab report. It says chances are they didn't get perfectly 60 degrees or 70 and so on. All right. So here is an article I'm going to read to you verbatim. It's a medical med office. Anesthesiologist faked data and 21 studies. A pioneering anesthesiologist has been implicated in a massive research fraud that has altered the way millions of patients are treated for pain during and after orthopedic surgery. And this article is dated March the 10th, 2009. Over the past 12 years, anesthesiologist Scott Rubin revolutionized the way physicians provide pain relief to patients undergoing orthopedic surgery for everything from torn ligaments to worn out hips. Now, the profession is in shambles after an investigation revealed that at least 21 of Rubin's papers were pure fiction and that the pain drugs he touted in them may have slowed post-operative healing. We are talking about millions of patients worldwide where post-operative pain management has been affected by the research findings of Dr. Rubin. Okay, says this gentleman, Stephen Schaefer, editor-in-chief of the journal Anesthesia and Analgesia, which published 10 of Rubin's fraudulent papers. Paul White, another editor at the journal, estimates that Rubin's studies led to the sale of billions of dollars worth of potentially dangerous drugs known as COX-2 inhibitors, Pfizer's Celebrex, and Merck's Vioxx for applications where therapeutic benefits are now in question. Rubin was a member of Pfizer's Speakers Bureau and received 5 independent research grants from the company. The editors do not believe patients were significantly harmed by the short-term use of these COX-2 inhibitors for pain management, but they say it's possible the therapy may have prolonged their recovery periods. Okay. Just be careful about faking the data. Lying, misrepresentation of the facts. You can lie by omission. So in other words, crucial facts are left out. Just don't bring them up. Or you can lie by commission. Facts are changed. So both of these are lying. Okay. Here's one here. I wish I could play this. You're welcome to if you could go and find the YouTube video or whatever. But it says here on September 18th, 2015, Volkswagen Group of America and Volkswagen AG received notice from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, U.S. Department of Justice, and the California Air Resources Board informing Volkswagen that those agencies had determined that some of our 2.0-liter four-cylinder TDI vehicles do not comply with applicable emissions regulations. The vehicles included, the notifications included these model cars. As environmental protection and sustainability are among Volkswagen's strategic corporate objectives, the company takes this matter very seriously and is cooperating with the investigation. So, individual effort assignments. This needs to be crystal clear from your instructor. So it needs to be clear from your instructor which assignments you can work together on and which must be an individual effort. Again, make sure it's crystal clear. A lot of times teachers will encourage you to work together. You learn pretty well sometimes when you work in a group setting, but sometimes assignments are not meant to be shared. It's an individual effort only. If you turn it in with your name only, then it can be considered an individual effort assignment. Okay? But there's some people turn in group assignments with their name only. So I've seen that before. So if you turn it in with your name only, then it can be considered an individual effort assignment. Get clarification from the instructor indicating whether you are not to work together on the assignment or not. Okay? Again, some assignments you're allowed to work on together, and there's some that you're not. Group projects. A single grade is often assigned for a group project, but the amount of work done by different team members often varies widely. Did you really contribute? I call this riding the wave sometimes when I assign students to a group. Again, there's some students who do a lot of work, and there's some students who just ride the wave. So you have to make sure that every member of your group is contributing to the project, okay? So you need to have a project manager of the group who kind of oversees this, making sure everyone is contributing. If not, you need to bring it to the attention of the professor, okay? So what are the penalties for cheating? Check the wording of the TCC Student Handbook online, Policy 2214. And each instructor, yes, make sure you read carefully the instructor's syllabus, all right, about, working together or cheating or things like this, okay? What are some of the penalties? Penalties can include asked to do the assignment again. Your teacher may give you the assignment again. Most likely they'll change the assignment. They won't give the exact assignment. They might give you a failing grade on the assignment. A lot of them do that. Some may go as far as just failing you in the class. Wouldn't that be terrible? Um, Maybe perhaps you did most of your work in class and you got A's and you decided to cheat on something and you failed the whole class. Okay. They might even suspend you from school for a period of time or expel you altogether. So they also conduct report and hearing and refer to the honor. Every college has an honor code system. Every college, university has an honor code system. Again, so most colleges have an honor code to deal with academic dishonesty. You will probably be asked to include a signed honor pledge with some of your assignments, especially take-home tests. Take-home tests are individual efforts. It's not something you're supposed to work on together. Say if I say this university, Valparaiso University and UVA have a very strict student-run honor code system where a single sanction could lead to expulsion for any student found guilty of lying, cheating, or stealing. No second chances. Some universities don't have a second chance. If you're found guilty, you're done. Okay. Similar to honor codes, there are company policies, industry guidelines, code of ethics, which, by the way, you're going to cover a lot about code of ethics and EGR 121. If you haven't taken that class yet, you could be taking it now. Code of ethics, statements, government safety and quality standards, and even laws that exist to require honesty. So you might see on some test, your professor will state this and you have to sign it. On my honor, I pledge that I have neither given nor received help on this assignment. So you might see that. So here's some things to think about. These are some case studies or some scenarios to think about. Two students work together on an individual computer homework assignment. Notice it says individual. After completing the assignment, they make a copy of the one file, change the name on the copy, and each student turns in a copy of the assignment with only their own name on it. So here's the key. There's two students, and they work together on an individual computer homework assignment. So if it's individual, this would be considered cheating because you're not supposed to work together on an individual assignment. One student is asked to help another complete their homework assignment. Is this cheating or not cheating? Some gray area here, right? If you're asked to help another student, especially from the teacher, first of all, who's asking you to do it? Okay. One more time, it says one student is asked to help another complete their homework assignment. If the teacher is asking you to do that, then that's fine. But you have to be careful here too. You don't want to show them everything. You want to show them maybe work some different examples, for example, different problems that are similar. Maybe not do the exact same problem, okay? Or you can look over what they did and say, well, you might want to go back and look at this area. I think you made a mistake here, okay? But not do their work for them. That's not the purpose here. So if you're doing their work for them, then that is a form of cheating. And you could be the person, helping the student could possibly get into some trouble here. During a lab, you forget to record the data readings from the test device. You are pretty sure you know what the results were, so you write them down later from memory. Now, you're just assuming here uh, on these test results. So you don't know for sure if these results are correct. So this could be a form of cheating. Let me see something here. This is almost like fakery. Um, you know, you know some of the data, but you didn't finish it. So you make up your own results. Okay, so I assume it's going to be this. That's a form of cheating. Scenario 4, you are in a lab and you have run 10 tests and got the same result every time. You're supposed to run 20. The tests are long and boring and you are running late. You know the results are going to be exactly the same for the next 10. So you record that you did 20 tests, all with the same result. This is cheating. Okay. Scenario 5. You are taking an exam and an online class from home. You are not sure about a question. So you ask your roomie to read the problem and help you understand it. Your roomie obligingly uh, helps and then tells you that you got the answer wrong. Is cheating? Yes, this is cheating. You should not have someone on the side doing research for you while you're taking the test. You store the definitions of several terms on your graphing calculator and use it during an exam for which those calculated models were permitted. You're allowed to use the calculator, but you're not allowed to store the definitions on the calculator. So this is cheating. You form a study group for a specific course. What rules could keep the group out of trouble for a homework study group or for a test review session? Okay, so you must go over the rule. You must make sure everything is crystal clear from the instructor's instructions, right? Look over the instructions very carefully. Make sure they're clear. If they're not clear, talk to the professor. Okay. So again, what rules keep the group out of trouble? Think about that one, because I know some of y'all are in groups now. What are some good answers for this? Two students are lab partners in a physics class. They perform an experiment together, and one of the students enters the data into Excel and uses it to form a graph. The other student copies the Excel file with the data and graph to include in their report. One more time. Two students are lab partners. They're doing the same lab in a physics class. They perform an experiment together, and one of the students enters the data into Excel and uses it to form a graph. The other student copies the Excel file with the data and graph to include in their report. This is some gray area, but I believe this is not cheating because they are allowed to work together. They are working together. One is reading off the data while the other is entering the data and forms a graph, and they use the same graph. Okay. So you can share the data, maybe just make a different graph or something, but I think this is not cheating. A student gets a significant amount of help on a homework assignment from the TCC tutor at the TCC math lab. Another student arrives seeking help on a take-home test. Well, I don't think a tutor is supposed to help a student on a take-home test. So a homework assignment, I think the tutor needs to stay clear of working the exact problem, but work some similar problems, or at least point out where the student went wrong on a problem. So they can review the problem together and say, I think this is where you started to go wrong, and you might want to go back and check those answers. That's okay, but the tutor should not be working the problem for the student. The tutor should be guiding the student, almost like what a teacher does, but on a, individual effort here. A student uses AI to get a jump start on a C++ unit project program. They don't completely understand how the program works, but they're able to modify the AI code slightly to get the program to add features to meet the instructor's specific requirements that the AI code did not do. Well, again, you're going to have to ask the teacher how they feel about you using AI to begin with, first off. If you don't understand the program completely, uh, you should not be asking the AI to write your program for you. Okay. Now you might be able to do some similar examples and use AI. AI is not always correct. I have done some testing with AI and I have found errors. So AI is not always correct. Don't assume it's correct. Sometimes there's mistakes. Okay. I took a class called AI Applications in Advanced Manufacturing at Old Dominion. It's a doctorate level course. And and I have found that AI is not always accurate. Okay. So does cheating end after college? When does cheating begin? So here's a couple articles. I'm not going to read them to you, but or summarize them. I would like for you to read through them at your leisure. But it's like once a cheater, maybe always a cheater. Think about it. You have to face yourself in the mirror every day. So when you look into the mirror, you say, and you cheated on something, I'm a cheater. So don't cheat. When in doubt, talk to your professor about everything. It's okay to help people with things, but maybe do different problems. Uh, if you're helping someone on a specific assignment, just tell them where they went wrong and not do their work for them. Give credit where credit is due. No plagiarism, right? Make sure you're given proper citations and so forth and references. All right, so I hope you're doing well. We're about middle of this course, maybe a little bit over the middle. And I just want to wish you luck and keep working hard and I'll talk to you later, okay? Take care. Take care.